Hi, my name's Angela, and originally my story, I wanted to share with you why I received a 20-year sentence to maximum security prison for voluntary manslaughter with a deadly weapon. But the more I think about it, it's the story is so much more than that. It's about domestic violence and mental illness and love, life, lust, infidelity, just all the craziness of life things that life can throw at you. I've been thinking about doing this story for a while. It's very emotional, so I've put it off and put it off and put it off, but I think I'm ready to tell my story. I hope people can learn from my mistakes and from the situation that I lived through and can make better choices for themselves and their children's, for their partners. I just hope you hear my story and learn. So I want to give a little background. When I was 16, I lost my virginity and got pregnant my first time. Had my daughter a month from being 17. When she was 3 months old, I met this man named Bud, and we got married when I was 18. We were together until I was 20, and I felt like there was better out there for me. We were starting to argue. He was calling me out my name, and I felt like I deserved better than that, and he wasn't going to treat me that way, so I left him. Over the course of the next year and a half, I dated around, nothing serious. Well, I fell in love with someone, but that's a whole nother story. He does make appearances in and out of my situation with what I'm going to share with, but I had gotten to a point when I was 21 that I was tired of dating the same old type of guys. I wanted to find someone that was older, that had life experience, that had dated. I like white men, so I wanted someone that's been familiar with dating biracial or black women, but also listen to heavy metal or country music, something other than rap, because I don't like rap music, and so I didn't want someone that listened to that type of music. I just wanted someone that I could relate to on that level. And so I set those standards for me, and I met this guy named Steve. My daughter met him, and he did this whole little gotcha nose thing, and she said she didn't like him, and so I didn't pursue a relationship with him, though Steve does come up again in the story. So the day after Christmas of 1997, 1998, day after Christmas 1998, I met this man named Shane Peters. I had went to my friend Lindsay's house, and her mom was down a few houses from where she stays. And Lindsay needed to talk to her mom, so we went down there, and that's where I met Shane. I found him very attractive, which when I left, me and Lindsay talked about it, and Lindsay asked if I wanted her to say something to Shane, and I said no, that if he was interested in me, I wanted him to approach me on his own. And so that's really where the story begins. So I want to apologize now if I go back and forth with some things. I am talking about a relationship that happened 25 years ago. I'm going to rely on journal entries to help me with dates, just chronological order of things. I don't have all my journals, but I do have most of them, so they should be able to help keep things in a nice timeline. And again, this story is difficult for me to tell. It's very emotional for me, and I had 4 children, 3 that are alive, with Shane. So I had decided with dating the older man that I needed to settle down and have a family for my 4-year-old daughter. That was important, to give her a family. That was very important to me. That was more important than my happiness. Having a family for her. That was like my number one goal. I'm going to try and post at least a 10-minute video every week about the relationship. Not sure how well I'll stay on top of that. I'll do my best because I suffer from depression, and telling the story, I'm sure, is gonna bring up a lot of hurt and trauma for me. But there's good times too. I wanna remember that there's good times too. So somewhere between the 26th of December of 98 and January 1st of 99, I made a second trip down to Shane's with Lindsay. And Shane was telling me that he was at my apartment before, and I'm like, you've never been to my house. I don't know you. He's like, yeah, when you stayed on Princeton Street, you lived upstairs. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe. I did live there. And he's like, Dan so-and-so was there. I'm like, oh, you're Heather's friend. You came with Heather. He's like, I don't know who I was there with, but I was there that night. And so I remembered that I did meet Shane once before when I had lived on Princeton Street. I had a roommate named Heather, and she normally dated black men, and she brought Shane by, and I remember pulling her to the side saying, where did you find this fine ass white boy at? Because I just thought he was so hot, and he was very respectful, and I do remember that, and I liked that about him. So he had asked me to stop by his house on New Year's to have a few drinks or something with him, and I never showed. I went and did other things instead of going and seeing him. So the next time I go to his house was, according to my journal, January 4th. And he had asked me what he had done wrong, or he thought he had done something wrong, and that's why I wasn't coming around any longer. And of course that wasn't the case, and I thought that was kind of cute that he thought he had done something wrong, and that's why I wasn't coming around. So from there, I kind of also was hesitant of going because my friends kept telling me about how good of a guy he was. Like, I remember at this point in time, I used to smoke marijuana. And I remember I was high eating a bowl of cereal, and then just kept going on Sarah, Lindsay, and Jen about how nice he was. He was so nice. He was such a nice guy. And I thought, if they tell me one more time how nice he is, I'm not even going to speak to him, because I didn't think I'd be good enough for him. I currently lived with somebody who lived with somebody, and I didn't have a job. I had just gotten my daughter back. I had her staying with my parents because I was homeless for a little while. And I don't drive, so I have like nothing to offer this man. And he had his own home that he was buying with his elderly father. He had his own business in floor covering. He had custody of his 2 teenage boys. And I just thought that I couldn't compete with him. I had nothing to offer him. He was just better than me, is what I thought. So on January 14th, I write in my journal that Shane came over and we spent some time together, and he had to leave to go home and cook dinner, and he kissed me goodbye. It says again, so apparently we've already kissed. But I say he's really nice, but I'm still not sure on what to expect. So I was still unsure of how the relationship was going to progress, I guess. But the next day we were intimate together for the first time. And afterwards he held me and just kept giving me little kisses and made me feel really, really loved and secure. So the next day I go to Shane's with Lindsay, and Sarah's sitting there next to Shane on the couch. And it's a 3-cushion couch, and she's sitting on the cushion right next to him. And I realized that the Jen and Lindsay had been telling me there was an older white man that was interested in Sarah, but Sarah wouldn't give him the time of day because he was white and she only liked black men and Hispanic men. She wasn't into white men at all. So now I'm wondering what is really going on here. Why is she sitting so close to him? And so when we left, I pointed it out to Lindsay. And so when we went back, she picked up on it, like, yeah, why is this going on? And so she tried to get Shane to come over and sit with us, and he wouldn't. He said he was fine where he was at. And then later on, after everybody left, I went and sat next to Shane, and he sat there for about 10 minutes. Then he got up and went to bed, and I thought that was very odd. And it made me feel some type of way. It made me feel like he was just like any other man. He got what he wanted, and he no longer cared anything about me. He just used me. And now he was trying to pursue Sarah again, is what I was thinking. That night, I went down to Jen's, which Jen is the mother, Lindsay and Sarah are the daughters, Sarah being the oldest daughter. I originally was friends with Sarah first and became friends with the entire family later on. So I talked to Jen about what was going on, not giving Sarah's name, and she felt like something definitely was going on between the two of them, and they just weren't saying anything. And then once I told her it was Sarah, it was like, oh, no, Sarah would never. She's not like that. Also living there with them is this lady named Elma. And for whatever reason now, she's liking Shane. And she makes some smart-ass comment about he'll choose who he wants. I didn't know there was any other possible women in league. I didn't know this was a competition. I thought that me and him were together. He had wanted to be my boyfriend. I wasn't quite ready for that. We pursued on to a sexual relationship. So I just took it that we were together. Not that we discussed that at all. But that's where my head was at with everything. So that next day on the 17th, I'm down at Shane's again, and I'm with Jen. And Jen kind of tells Shane, how I was upset because he went to bed once I was sitting next to him. And he said something about how he thought I would come in and wake him up. And then I brought up Sarah, and I was really shitty about it. And once everybody was gone, we sat and we talked. We had a really, really good talk. I was able to open up. We talked about what we wanted out of a relationship, and I thought that was good progress that we had made that night. And that was January 17th of 1999. And looking back on it, there's red flags already. Like, it hasn't even been a week and since we were intimate, and there's already issues with 2 other girls. But is that just me and being in my head, or is that something he's entertaining? And then the next day, here comes Sarah asking me 1,000,001 questions. She's shocked that I took a shower at his place, and she's just... I realized later on with Sarah that she was just the type of person that had to have attention, and she was no longer getting Shane's attention. Even though she didn't want him, she liked that attention, and now it was being directed towards me. I wind up going and staying with a friend to help watch her kids for her in another little small town from where I was living. And so I would stop by Shane's, and he'd be acting weird, like he didn't want me around. I'd invite him out to where I was staying. He wouldn't want to come because it wasn't my place. And then I find out that it's because of Elma, I believe. Shane wound up telling me that Jen, Lindsay, and Sarah were first like telling him all about me and trying to get him to date me, and then all of a sudden they stopped and started talking about Elma all the time. And I felt betrayed by that. These were supposed to be my friends, and they did this to me. But in the end, Shane did choose me. He never did anything with Elma. He told me that he just felt like I was flighty and that Elma would be more of the motherly, wanting to stay home and raise a family type. Which why he didn't see me that way and see me as flighty, I have no idea, because I was looking for a family. I was looking for a father for my child. I wanted to give her that, a family. That was very important to me. So, and like I said, he had custody of his 2 teenage boys, and the younger one, he was pretty happy at first to have a black mom. That was really cool to him, and he was proud to have Whitney as a sister. And of course, we weren't married or anything, and this is just within the first month or so of the relationship. But yeah, there was a lot of red flags there. A lot of red flags. And he had this sticker above his bedroom door that said, "Don't trust anything that bleeds more than 5 days and doesn't die." When we were together, I took that sticker down. It was no longer up there, but that should have been another clue, and I ignored it. So the interaction between Shane and Whitney. At first, he thought she was the cutest thing. He lived in the basement of his dad's house, and behind the couch, the whole back wall was nothing but mirrors. And she would just stand in front of those mirrors and sing Selena songs all the time. And he thought she was so cute, but then quickly became annoyed with her. He'd want her to sit down and be quiet. She would tell him that she loved him, and he wouldn't say anything back. Or there was even one occasion she wanted him to pick her up, and he wouldn't even pick her up. He was very distant with her. I wanted him to interact more with her and be more fatherly, because that's what I was looking for, was a father figure for her, because her biological father wasn't in the picture. Now Bud still came around for many, many years and participated in her life and would keep her for weekends and things to that nature. But if me and him was going to be in a relationship together, I wanted him to be that primary father figure for her. And he was failing at it miserably. Another red flag. So during that time, we went 4-wheeling. Or 3-wheeling. I didn't ride at all, but we'd go out to eat, to the movies. We spent time together, quality time together. But that pretty much wraps up the first month of the relationship.